Hello everyone, in this video, I provide word meanings with a short story to aid your understanding of vocabulary for competitive examinations. If you find my content helpful, I humbly ask for your support by considering subscribing to my channel. Thank you for your consideration. Let's look at word armament refers to military weapons and equipment, especially those used for warfare. Armament usually refers to larger weapons such as tanks, missiles, and aircraft rather than individual firearms. Usage in sentence. The troops were loading the armament onto the transport, preparing for a mission that could change the course of the war. They worked tirelessly to load the armament, checking each piece of equipment meticulously. Without proper armament, they would be at the mercy of the enemy. But with their armament in place, they felt confident and ready for action. Let's look at word. An armistice is an agreement to stop fighting, usually between opposing armies. An armistice is a temporary agreement, and a peace treaty is often negotiated afterward to resolve the underlying issues. Usage in sentence. The countries had been at war for years, but finally, a global summit brought representatives together to negotiate an armistice. The armistice was met with cautious optimism, and both sides agreed to adhere to it until a lasting peace treaty could be negotiated. The armistice brought an armistice to the fighting that had plagued the region for so long. Let's look at word. Aromatic refers to a substance that has a pleasant, distinctive smell. Aromatic substances often come from plants, such as herbs and spices, and are used in perfumes, cooking, and other products. Usage in sentence. The chef in the restaurant was an expert at using aromatic herbs and spices to create delicious dishes. Even the most basic dish was elevated to a culinary masterpiece with the addition of aromatic thyme, rosemary, or sage. Customers often commented on how aromatic the food was, and many came back again and again to experience the delicious, aromatic flavors. Let's look at word. Arrogance refers to an attitude of overbearing pride and self-importance. It is a trait where a person is excessively confident and believes they are superior to others, often resulting in treating others poorly. Usage in sentence. One day, a man named John, who was a successful businessman, visited a cafe. He ordered a coffee and sat down at a table. As he was sipping his coffee, he noticed a group of people talking and laughing. He overheard their conversations, which John felt were shallow and uneducated. John decided to interrupt them and said, "Excuse me, do you know who I am? I am a successful businessman who has more money than all of you combined." He continued, "I doubt any of you will ever achieve the level of success that I have." John's arrogance and sense of superiority were apparent. The group of people felt belittled and embarrassed. They politely nodded and walked away. John's arrogance had alienated him from making new friends and showed that success does not equate to treating people poorly. It is important to remember that everyone deserves respect and kindness, irrespective of their social or financial status. Let's look at word. Arsenic is a chemical element that is well known for its poisonous and lethal properties. Exposure to arsenic can cause serious health problems, including cancers, skin lesions, and respiratory diseases. Usage in sentence. Once upon a time, there was a small village nestled deep in the forest. The villagers depended on their nearby river for their water supply. However, the river was often contaminated, and the villagers fell ill frequently. When the local doctor came to investigate, he discovered that the water was contaminated with arsenic. The villagers collectively decided to take action and find a solution. They reached out to an environmental organization who installed a water filtration system to eliminate the arsenic and provide safe drinking water. The villagers also advocated for stricter regulations on industries releasing toxins into the river. Over time, the water filtration system became outdated, and the villagers became complacent about enforcing regulations. One day, a young boy drank directly from the river and became seriously ill. It was discovered that the level of arsenic had increased beyond safe levels due to the negligence of the industries. This experience served as a reminder to the villagers to remain vigilant about their water supply and to continue advocating for safe water regulations. Arsenic can be a silent killer, and it is important to take proactive measures to protect ourselves and our communities from its harmful effects. Let's look at word. An arteriole is a small blood vessel that carries oxygenated blood from arteries to capillaries. Arterioles are important in regulating blood flow and pressure within the body. Usage in sentence. Once there was a young woman named Samira who suffered from high blood pressure. She would often experience dizzy spells and difficulty breathing. She visited her doctor, who explained that her blood pressure was high due to narrowing of the arterioles. The doctor prescribed medication to help widen her arterioles and improve blood flow. Through regular checkups and monitoring, Samira's blood pressure began to normalize. She was also advised to adopt a healthier lifestyle, including a balanced diet and exercise routine. However, a few months later, Samira began to feel unwell again. Her blood pressure had risen once again. After further tests, it was discovered that her arterioles had constricted due to stress. The doctor recommended that Samira take steps to manage her stress levels, including meditation and relaxation techniques. She also continued to take her medication and modify her lifestyle to support healthy blood flow. Through her journey, Samira learned the importance of maintaining healthy arterioles for overall health and well-being. By being mindful of her stress levels and adopting healthy habits, she was able to avoid the risks and complications associated with narrowed arterioles. Let's look at word. Articulate is an adjective that describes a person's ability to express themselves clearly and effectively, often using language. A person who is articulate can convey their thoughts and ideas fluently and with precision. Usage in sentence. Once there was a young girl named Maya who loved to read and write. She was a quiet and reserved child, but when she expressed herself through her writing, her words flowed effortlessly. One day, Maya's class was asked to write an essay on their favorite vacation. When it was her turn to read aloud her essay, Maya's classmates were amazed by her articulate and expressive language. They had never heard someone their age write so beautifully. As Maya progressed through school, her articulate language and writing skills continued to flourish. In debate club and public speaking events, she effortlessly conveyed her thoughts and ideas to her audience. She became a role model to her peers and was admired for her ability to articulate her voice. Maya went on to study communications in college and became successful in her career in public relations. Her ability to articulate her ideas and persuade clients made her one of the most respected professionals in her field. Maya's story is a testament to the power of clear and articulate language. By mastering her ability to express herself effectively, she was able to excel both academically and professionally and make a positive impact on those around her. Let's look at word artifice is the use of clever or deceptive strategies or devices, often in order to achieve a desired outcome or goal. Usage in sentence. Once there was a young man named David who was desperate to win over the heart of a young woman he had been admiring for some time. He resorted to using various artifices to impress her, such as bragging about his wealth and intelligence and exaggerating his accomplishments. Despite David's efforts, the young woman saw through his artifices and was not impressed. She valued honesty and integrity above all else and was not interested in someone who tried to deceive her. Feeling deflated and embarrassed, David realized he had made a mistake. He decided to change his approach and be honest about who he was and what he had to offer. He soon discovered that the young woman was more interested in getting to know him for his true self than his showy artifice. David learned that true relationships are built on trust and authenticity rather than artifice. He grew as a person, valuing more meaningful interactions and the importance of being genuine and honest. Let's look at word artiodactyl refers to a group of mammals with an even number of toes on their feet, including animals such as deer, cows, sheep, and pigs. Usage in sentence. Once upon a time, in a lush green forest, there lived a group of artiodactyls, deer, cows, and buffalo who lived in harmony and respected each other's space. The deer would graze on the forest floor, the cows would feed on the grass, and the buffalo would find fresh water to drink. One day, a group of hunters entered the forest, targeting the deer for their antlers. The artiodactyls quickly came together to find ways to protect and preserve their herd. The cows used their large size to create a barrier around the deer, while the buffalo found a safe path for the deer to escape. The hunters soon realized that their prey was united and organized and decided to retreat from the forest. The artiodactyls celebrated their victory, grateful for their unity and strength in the face of danger. The story of the artiodactyls reminds us of the power of cooperation and teamwork. Despite their differences, they worked together to protect and preserve their herd. We can learn from their example and strive to work together to protect and preserve the things we care about in our society and the world around us. Let's look at word asbestosis is a lung disease caused by prolonged exposure to asbestos fibers. It causes shortness of breath, coughing, and can lead to serious respiratory problems over time. Usage in sentence. Once there was a construction worker named Jack who worked with asbestos for years without the proper safety equipment and training. He didn't realize the dangers of working with asbestos and never thought twice about the dust he inhaled every day. After several years, Jack began to develop a persistent cough and had trouble breathing. His doctor diagnosed him with asbestosis and explained that his lungs had been damaged from exposure to the asbestos fibers. Jack was devastated. He had unknowingly put himself in harm's way by not taking proper precautions at work. Over time, Jack's condition worsened, and he found it harder and harder to do the things he enjoyed. He couldn't take long walks or go on hikes with his family anymore. His quality of life decreased, and he felt like a burden to his loved ones. Jack's story is a wake-up call about the dangers of working with asbestos without proper safety equipment and training. It is essential to recognize the risks and take proactive measures to protect ourselves and our loved ones from the long-term effects of exposure. Asbestosis is a serious and debilitating lung disease that can take a toll on a person's health and well-being, and therefore it is necessary to prevent the exposure to it. Let's look at word ascription refers to the process of attributing certain characteristics or qualities to individuals based on their perceived identity or social group, rather than based on their individual merit. Usage in sentence. Once there was a young woman named Maria who had just graduated from college and was looking for a job. Despite her excellent academic credentials and work experience, she struggled to find employment due to her last name and ethnic background. Maria felt frustrated by the ascriptions people made about her based on her perceived identity. She had worked hard to achieve her goals and prove herself, yet she felt like she was being held back by the prejudices of others. With perseverance and determination, Maria refused to be defined by the ascriptions placed upon her. She continued to apply for jobs and network with people in her field, emphasizing her qualifications and accomplishments rather than her ethnicity or last name. Eventually, Maria was hired by a reputable firm that valued her skills and work ethic. Her colleagues recognized and respected her for who she was, not just her perceived identity. Maria proved that beyond ascription, people's hard work and dedication can enable them to be successful in their own way. Maria's story reminds us that ascriptions can limit people's potential, but with determination and hard work, one can rise above them. We should strive to see people as individuals, rather than as members of groups, and recognize individuals based on their abilities and merit, rather than based on stereotypes or preconceptions.